Hi everyone, I'm Jack de Carle and I'm here with Matt Tissier.
How you doing, mate?
Very well, thank you, very well. So I think we want to talk about what's going on in the world.
Yep.
And I think from you going from being one of the biggest and most popular pundits in the UK, being on most of the sports channels, most of the questions of sports, Match of Today's, what was it like going from being at the peak of that, watching the world crumble around you, and then having the audacity to speak out against it, to then be in this position where you're fighting from the shadows, if you like, knowing that your colleagues have similar views, perhaps?
Some certainly do, but yeah, it's been a fascinating few years. I never thought my life would turn out quite in this way, but yeah, up until 2020, life was going swimmingly, and I was enjoying myself, watching lots of Premier League football on the telly, and having a regular, steady job, and all of a sudden, by speaking out about the madness that's gone on with the COVID stuff that started happening, and life changed pretty quickly. In August 2020, the job was gone, and I had to try and find other ways to earn a living. So yeah, I've also got kind of cancelled from various positions, but I'm still, trying to make a difference, trying to be a bit balanced and give the other side of the coin that the mainstream media don't let you see these days. And I think the reason I'm doing that is because I think it's the right thing to do. Simple as that.
And I think that shows a lot of your character, the ability to be able to carry on doing what you're doing, knowing that you could have had it. You pretty much did have it all. You had a fantastic playing career, then you go on to be a fantastic pundit, and by speaking your mind, we all saw what happened. We saw what happened after the vaccine. Can you mention what you start to see as not just yourself, but as a group of former football players?
Yeah, when the vaccines were rolled out, there was always experts that were warning against what could possibly happen even before they were rolled out. These people were obviously censored. I was getting to listen to these people. Kind of come across them early 2020, and they seemed to me to be pretty genuine, pretty humanitarian in their approach to what they were saying, and when they were warning about the possible side effects of these vaccines, they started to become pretty visible pretty quickly after 2001, and I watched a lot of sport and saw a lot of sports people start to collapse on the field of play with heart issues, and this was something that I'd only ever seen incredibly rarely beforehand, and then all of a sudden it just seemed to be, this is happening quite a lot, something's not quite right here. And also, it wasn't just the players on the pitch, but medical emergencies in the crowd at these football matches were happening on a very regular basis as well. Again, something that hadn't happened previously, that I'd seen in my playing career. So yeah, I was a bit concerned, voiced my opinion, managed to have a relationship with some good doctors who were on board with what was going on. They could see also that there was something not quite right happening. And so Dr. Claire Craig and Dr. Asima Hotra were really kind to me, and they backed me up in my assertions of what I was seeing with my own eyes. We decided to put a letter together to send to the Professional Footballers Association in this country, FIFPro, the World Players Union, and
massive associations,
absolutely
huge associations in the sport.
Yeah, and none of them were taking any notice of what was going on, and I was really concerned that they weren't providing the best care for their players, and that's their whole job, for them to be there.
As a former player, these are people that you care about. You've literally grown up in the industry. You understand it. You know the risk and the implications.
100%.
So you're seeing something that's actively making people feel unwell on the pitch, suffering from cardiac problems, all that kind of stuff. And you've gone to these associations and done everything you can, right?
Well, we put together a letter to send to these, backing up with doctors on this letter, and I went to 100 ex-players that I had in my phone numbers that I had in my phone, and just to ask them, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Do you think that this warrants an investigation? And 98 out of the 100 players, I think it was, all said yes, we're seeing this, we want to put our name to this. So although those players weren't really speaking publicly about it for reasons of their own, it was still nice to have that kind of support to send that letter in, so it's not just coming from Matt Tissier, the mad conspiracy theorist, and so and hoping that made a bit of a difference, because eventually in November 2022, the doctor at the FA that I spoke to, she sent me an email saying that footballers are no longer being advised to have any more COVID vaccines. So, if we made a difference, then great, but the right result has come from it, in my opinion.
So 98 out of 100 former players all agreed that this is a dangerous thing that's being put into people's bodies, right?
Well, we all agreed that what we were seeing wasn't normal.
Yeah.
And it warrants an investigation. So we weren't even saying this has to be the vaccine. That's not what we were saying. We were saying something's not right, it needs to be investigated. Now, the fact that nobody was willing to investigate it is a massive red flag, in my opinion, and that tells me, my only logical conclusion from that is, they know what's causing it, and they don't want everyone else to know.
So what's stopping it from becoming not just a mad conspiracy ex-football player saying stuff? Why are 98 people willing to put their names on this list and speak the fight from the shadows, when they're watching their colleagues, former friends, whatever, all collapsing on pitches, suffering from heart problems, just walking the dog? How is this being allowed to continue? And no one seems to be doing anything about it. And I just don't understand how everybody can be so together in sport. They say it's like a family thing that brings everyone together, yet the minute it's actually a safety problem, where there's health and safety being put at risk of fans and players and whatever, why is no one coming forward for that?
That is the question I've been asking myself for the last couple of years. I feel like it's my duty, it's the right thing to do. Other people may have different agendas in their lives, they may have different things in their life which mean they don't feel comfortable in speaking out. I feel comfortable to speak out because, as I said, I feel it's the right thing to do, and that's as simple as it gets, really.
So, from my point of view, I love football. I think I understand it. I think I get everything about it. I love going to games, but I don't understand what's stopping people from noticing. And I don't mean just ex-football players that are seeing it live and direct all the time. Yeah. I'm talking about, why is it that the majority of the general public can watch football all their lives, and then all of a sudden, I can't remember, Christian Eriksen in a World Cup final, or a World Cup
in the
Euros, collapsing and being down for minutes and being sheltered by the teams. Like, this is a worldwide stage, and still nothing seemed to change. It was just, it can't be anything to do with the vaccine, it can't be this.
That's what I think. That's the thing that really annoyed me about it all, is that you weren't allowed to ask the question of whether that player was vaccinated or not. You're not allowed to answer that question, apparently. Although it was okay to ask that question if you wanted to get into a pub or a nightclub the year before,
or a restaurant, or actually do anything
in your life. So that was right. But now, people collapse on the pitch. You can't ask about their vaccine status. So we don't know about the vaccine status. We kind of have a fair idea. But that's the frustrating thing about it, is that you're not allowed to ask any questions, and everybody dismisses it, even though evidence is there that something isn't right. Everyone goes, oh no, must be something else. Can't be the vaccine. And long COVID. And
is that the way that culture's been manipulated over years?
It's been the PR campaign that has basically media brainwashing of what's gone on the last 3 years. From March 2020, the brainwashing that's gone on in the media has been quite incredible and very effective. Luckily, not everybody fell for it, but a fair portion of the population did, and they are, from what I see, the population are now waking up to the fact that yes, they were absolutely brainwashed, and they're slowly coming out of that one by one, and I think we can see that in today's society. I think if this country tried to lock down the country again, I think you would see a very different reaction to what happened.
I totally agree. I think, even for me personally, the first time we got locked down, I remember watching Boris Johnson on the news, and I was sat there and I had my beer in my hand, and I thought, Jesus Christ. And it was like something out of a post-apocalyptic zombie movie, stay in your houses, do not see your friends, do not see your family, lockdown, that is it. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm terrified. And then it continued for months and months and months. Then we were briefly released from our shackles. So I was allowed to just go to the gym more than once a day, or go for a run, or walk my dog without feeling like I'm going to catch some deadly virus that's going to kill me and my family and everyone in a 1 mile radius, right? Then they locked us down again, and then the same thing happened, we were released. And then when they tried to do it the third time, that's when my friends and family started going, you're having a laugh, I'm not doing it again, this is enough for me.
Yeah.
And people started to break the rules because they started to see the truth.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think
the spell was broken. The spell started. I mean, you can only do that to people for so long before common sense kicks in and they start thinking rationally again.
Yeah.
Because they were scared. Everyone was scared in 2020. It was a very good fear campaign, and when people are scared, they don't have rational responses in their brain. And so I was lucky. I didn't get scared. I kind of knew early on what was going on. So I wasn't frightened, and I was able to think rationally about it, and that's why I took the stance I took.
So that was 2020, and we're kind of now moving on to 2023, 2024 on the horizon. What have you got lined up? What are you doing to keep fighting that good fight?
Well, we're trying to, on social media, trying to get the message out there, trying to get a bit of balance to the coverage that we get in the mainstream media. I don't think we're fed the truth by that very often at all. So trying to counteract that, trying to get a word out, trying to do interviews with people, do podcasts with people, just trying to get people to try and think for themselves and come out of the trance that was 2020. Got a lovely event coming up with your dad in March as well, so looking forward to that, and with Richard Vobe. So hopefully we'll get a full house in London for that.
Well, I'm sure you will. I mean, you're now getting through and down the holistic wormhole that is Jack de Carle and everything that comes with it.
Absolutely. You know, I interviewed your dad last year, I think it was now, and you know, I just saw the immense amount of knowledge that he has on the supplement side of things. It was just incredible, and so now I've myself started taking vitamin D3, especially this time of year. Especially we're not going to get much exposure to the sun.
It's getting darker and colder each day.
And you know, I asked him about the magnesium as well, how important that was, and he said incredibly important. So get that stuff inside you. So I've started doing that. My wife has taken some of the other stuff as well. I mean, I don't ask her; she loves it. So, but yeah, that's where I've gone. That's where I've kind of gone down that road, and
So you've started to see some benefits by using the magnesium and the vitamin D3, and I'm sure your wife, who, as you said, is doing all the other bits that you are supposed to do, that
I know that
we put off because it's laziness, which is absolutely understandable.
Just the basic for me. I mean, I've been very lucky in my life. I mean, we spoke earlier, and I've been very lucky that I haven't missed many days' work or ill in my entire life. So, you know, touch wood, that continues, and hopefully all the supplements will help in that as well.
Absolutely. And if the supplements don't work, you had a bit of success with the Tissier machine.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. I was really struggling with a knee injury that had been really quite persistent, not really going away or getting any better. Your dad put me on that, and I was like, I mean, I've been limping for nearly 3 weeks, and I was like 4 minutes on this machine, and he said, right, get up and have a walk. I was like, wow. Gone, my limp's gone, and it was amazing. It lasted for a little while. It was stiff a little bit a couple of days later, but since then I've noticed that it has got better a lot quicker than what it was before I used the machine. So yeah,
I think we've got one for you.
I'm looking
so
forward
that you get to take home with you and you can use it at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Combine the nutrition element with the magnesiums and vitamin D3. Treat yourself with the machine, do your physios, keep it going, and hopefully together that should be a perfect path into feeling well.
That's the plan.
Completely.
That's the plan.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
Tell the Rishi Sunak story.
Tell us the Rishi Sunak story.
Okay, so last May just gone, Rishi Sunak grew up in Southampton. Went to university here in Southampton, and used to go and watch me play at the Dell. Used to go and watch Saints play, and I was his favourite player. So when he became Chancellor of the Exchequer, he did a big interview in the Financial Times, and he mentioned that I was his favourite player. He used to love going and watch me play at the Dell. So it's been an interesting journey. Obviously, through the COVID, I've been quite a big critic of the government's response, and his as Chancellor, and then his as Prime Minister. And so in May, Rishi decided he was going to go down to St Mary's and watch a game, and it was the day we got relegated actually against Fulham. So he picked a really good day to go with that.
Really positive day for a Saints fan.
So yeah, he turns up at the game, and the lady sat next to him is the lady that sorts my tickets out for when I go. And I got a text message from her. She sat next to him, and I was sat about 20 yards away. And I got a text message from her in the ground saying that, "Where are you sat?" I said, "Oh, I'm about 20 yards to your right, a couple of rows up." So she waved, and then she sent me another text message saying, "Oh, Rishi wants to say hello. Would you wave to him?" So Rishi see that waves to me, and I was like, "How you doing?" So then I get another text message going, "Do you want to come and meet him at half time?"
Oh my God.
So I was like, "Yeah, cool, why not?" So obviously my wife knows my opinion of the government at the moment, and so I texted my wife and said, "I'm meeting Rishi at half time."
I mean,
And you can only imagine what her response was to that. It was one word, and it began with F and only had 4 letters. And so I walked into the boardroom at Southampton at half time in this game, and the chief executive at Southampton kind of stopped me first before I went in and went, "You will keep this just about football, won't you?" And I went, "I'll do my best."
Which is all you can do.
So we had a chat about the first half, about the team, the state of the football club, and kind of coming to the end of the conversation, I couldn't help myself, so I just went, "So how's the job going then?" And he went, "Well, it's quite a tough job," and he said, "But and I went, "Yeah," I said, "It probably doesn't help when you've got people like me slagging you off every 5 minutes on social media, does it?" And to be fair, he just laughed at me. That was my encounter with the Prime Minister.
Fair enough. I mean, that sounds like a hell of an encounter, to say the least.
It was funny. Yeah.
It can't be any harder than watching Southampton there being Prime Minister, surely.
I mean, last season was hard work watching that. That was very hard. It's a bit easier this year. We started winning games again, which is nice, but it's going to be tough to get out of that league.
Well, Mr. Le Tissier, thank you so much.
Pleasure, Jack.
Thank you very much.